Okay.
This is something you can easily do. Thousands of people are already.
Ẹ dákun ọ̀tọ̀ ọ̀pẹ lóko bẹ́ẹ̀ ọ̀nà ló jìn ẹ forí jìn mí o. Mi ò mọ mo ti ń gbìyànjú ọ̀tọ̀ ní nǹkan tí mò ń lò tẹ́lẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n mi ò wá mọ ohun tó ṣẹlẹ̀. Íńtánẹ́ẹ̀tì inú ibi báyìí ó ti ń fún mi ní wàhálà láti bí ọjọ́ mẹ́ta. Ó ní mo ti ń bá a jà kí n tó wá gbìyànjú láti lo hotspot mi.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ mà.
Ẹ ṣeun yèyé ẹ kújọ́ mẹ́ta ojú yín ń dán ẹ̀mí yọǹgì ṣé ẹ mọ̀gì ni àbọ̀gbọ́n wo lè dá sí.
Bàbá Ṣàlì ló ń tọ́jú wá ń sìn.
Ta nìyẹn.
Bàbá Ṣàlì.
Bàbá Ṣàlì.
Prince Charles.
Tó ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ tó dáa ó ń ṣe ju
ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn ọkùnrin obìnrin tọ́jà obìnrin làkàn mọ́ọ́rẹ́.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni ẹ rí yẹn sọ ẹ rò pé ó ń ṣe dáadáa ju tírímìsì yù lọ ní àyín.
Tírímìsì yù yẹn kọ́ máa ní àwọn yẹn ìsíkọ́tò òye wa.
Tá a bá débẹ̀ ó ti dọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọ́ káfò.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mà.
Ẹ ṣeun tó mo kí gbogbo aráalé o èmi ò tí ì wá tiẹ̀ àtẹ̀mí lẹ́rí tẹ̀ ń wí àwọn amòye mi dà. Àti ìrí wọn o látòrí bàbá amòye and co limited.
Àwa rèé o.
Àwọn bàbá l'Ógbómọ̀ṣọ́ wọ́n ti dé láti Canada.
Bàbá l'Ógbómọ̀ṣọ́.
À ń jẹ yín o.
Àtọ̀tọ̀.
À ń jẹ yín o.
Ẹ ti dàjẹ́nu o tẹ́ ẹ bá ti ń jẹ́ wa o.
À ń jẹ yín o.
Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ arójú yìí.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò.
Ààrẹ òṣèlú ẹ má fi ṣe hàn wá o. Ohun tẹ́ ẹ bá bá wà ní kẹ́ ẹ sọ.
Wọ́n jẹ yín o.
Ẹ ṣeun o. Àwọn yòókù dà àárí wọn.
Wọ́n ń bọ̀.
So adúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run adúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ẹlẹ́dàá bó ní àdúgbò tiyín ní Canada lọ́hùn-ún.
Adúpẹ́ o ó wà dáadáa o.
Àkúkú mọ ibi tá a fẹ́ wá yín sí adé Maryland wọ́n lẹ ti kọjá lọ Canada àtúndé Canada wọ́n ní àwọ̀ yín lọ.
Àbí o.
Onílé méjì ní rògbàrògbà.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ má bínú. Ẹ má bínú.
Bínú kẹ nǹkan ni a máa di méjì kínú ó bí ni. Ọ̀túnba Òsénì babaláworì kẹpẹ́ o.
Mo rò bí wọ́n ṣe wọ plane ní Caribbean line ní wọn ní pẹ́lsọ̀.
Táwa ló fowókọ ọmọ ránṣẹ́. Àmọ́ bóyá àwọn ará Caribbean ni wọ́n forúkọ ọmọ ránṣẹ́. Bàbá tó tọwọ́ ooru ni.
Àmọ́ bó ṣe jẹ́ o tó fi jáde.
Ó ga o.
Akẹ́tẹ̀ yẹn wù wá o.
Bàbá mọ́pọ̀lọ́ lódò tí ọjọ́ kọ̀ǹkọ̀. Kí lẹ wí?
Mo ní akẹ́tẹ̀ tá ń wò lẹ́yìn yẹn ó wù wá. Akẹ́tẹ̀.
Wọ́n ní tòkè tilẹ̀ yìí kó wù àwọn.
Àbẹ́ ẹ ò gbọ́ Yorùbá mọ́ ẹ mọ́ tá ń pè lákẹ́tẹ̀. Ẹ ò mọ́ tá ń pè lákẹ́tẹ̀.
Akẹ́tẹ̀ kọ́ lè mí dé gèlè ni mo wé. Gèlè tí mo sì wé mo ti sókọ rẹ̀ pín.
Akẹ́tẹ̀ kan ti yọ akẹ́tẹ̀ kan wà nínú láàrin wa ń bí. Ẹnìkan dé akẹ́tẹ̀.
Ọ̀dà. Torí èmi ti ètèmi aṣọ òkè yìí mo ti sókọ rẹ̀ fún yín ṣé ẹ rántí.
Mo rí tiyín ẹ mo rí lóòótọ́ ni bẹ̀tẹ̀ alájà láti London akẹ́tẹ̀ náà dé sórí fọ́tò wọn.
Wọ́n yọ̀ǹgì fúnra wọn ni. Wọ́n tẹ̀mùkẹ́ youngness. Wọ́n tàtà lọ sí gbẹ̀gìrì òní tí wọ́n ṣe gbẹ̀gìrì àtàná. Ẹ mọ̀ pọ́n yọ̀ǹgì ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run.
Ẹ bá mọ̀gì ọ̀yọ̀ǹgì.
A ti wà ní sọ́mà ni.
So bóyá kí n kúkú pe àwọn amòye torí a ti wá ń fẹ́ gbòó ṣe gbòó lé báyìí ní ìsìn o.
Ṣé kémi pé bàbá Adébóyè?
Bàbá Adébóyè ni mò ń pè, ẹ̀yin ẹ pé dókítà ọlọ́pọlọ.
Bá pè bàbá níjẹ̀bú.
Ẹ pè wọ́n. Àwọn láwọn ń bọ̀. Kí lẹ wí? Ọlọ́mọdé arógun emergency o, kí wọ́n pe 911 kí wọ́n fi yín lọ́rùn lẹ́hùn. So kí ló ń lọ ní agbègbè yín lọ́dọ̀ bàbá Charles? Ìyé Àbíkẹ́.
À ń wojú Ọlọ́run nìkan dá wa lóhùn.
Yóò jú ṣe o.
À ń retí ọmọ tuntun látọ̀dọ̀ Kate.
Ẹbọn ló ti bímọ kébí.
Wọ́n ti ànáǹsì àti ẹ̀mọ́ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ náà.
Bàbá bí ẹ̀yin náà lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kọ́ gbọ́ àbí?
Àwa ló yẹ ká kọ́kọ́ gbọ́ o. Àwa ló yẹ ká kọ́kọ́ gbọ́ o.
Dr. Oyefule, wọ́n ṣe mistake ni wọ́n lọ wọkọ̀ Ìjẹ̀bú, mo wá ní ká sọ̀kalẹ̀ ká wọkọ̀ Ìbàdàn.
Ìbàdàn ní sẹ́ńtà oní kápítà látàyè Western Region.
So wọ́n ti ń bọ̀.
Ìbàdàn ni o.
Western Region.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, òdodo ni.
Àwa lolú. Àwọn ọmọ arólú owó, ọmọ arólú omi. Àwọn ọmọ òkè túlú igbó ọ̀sàbàrí, ọmọ agbóruru níwájú ológun.
Orí mi wú o.
Àsàbàrí ò ní kọjá, lógun ò ní kọjó sànjó àlá.
Ẹ ṣé màámi, mo gbádùn yín.
Yes ma. Ẹ̀yin ò tiẹ̀ nídìí láti sanwó torí ní gbogbo ìgbà ẹ dúró déédéé, ẹ ṣẹlẹ́ńkẹ́jọ, ẹ gbóúnjẹ pẹ́pẹ́, ẹ sì gbàwó bọ̀. Mo kí olórí Lípẹ̀dé pé wọ́n káàbọ̀, wọ́n kú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta. Àṣà ọ̀pẹ ló kó bẹ́ẹ̀, ó ti tójọ́ mẹ́ta tá a ti rí yín. Ẹ mọ́ gbàgbé olórí pé à ń retí àwọn èèyàn wa tí wọ́n ó bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ilé rírà. Nígbàkúgbà tẹ́ bá ti rẹ́dì, ọ̀dẹ̀ òde là wá, àyíbé àti dúró dáadáa. So à ń dúró. Ọ̀túnba ọmọ sọ̀rọ̀. So we are already on YouTube. Even though we are waiting for our people so we can start this program. We are already on YouTube. We are already on a Reef Note website. Ọ̀rọ̀ká ìyá ọ̀bàlá olóhùn ìyá ọ̀bọ. Ọ̀mọ̀wé Ọ̀ṣíyẹmí, welcome. Ara àwọn kò yẹ kó gbò lórí Yorùbá Gbòde. Mi ò wá mọ̀ ṣé ọ̀mọ̀wé ni àbí dókítà alábẹ àbí dókítà onímọ̀. Ọ̀mọ̀wé lèmi mọ̀ pé Dr. Ọ̀ṣíyẹmí, ṣùgbọ́n bóyá mi ò gbà á. Dókítà Ọ̀ṣíyẹmí tí mo bá gbà àbí tí mo bá gbà á, ẹ lù mí lọ́gọ ẹnu. Bàbá Amòye ti wọlé, à ń dúró de dókítà ọlọ́pọlọ.
Ẹ kú wájú o.
Ó kẹ́pẹ́ o. Mo sọ níjọ́ sí orúkọ aṣọ tí mo wọ̀ yìí, aṣọ òkè, mi ò mẹ́ni tó rántí, mi ò mẹ́ni tí ò rántí.
O ò sọ fún wa o.
Bàbá mo sọ fún yín.
Ok, mo ti gbàgbé.
Mo sì mọ̀ bàbá ń gbà tẹ́ ń kọ́ mi ní mathematics tá a sọ̀rọ̀ simultaneous equation tí mo ní mo gbàgbé fọ́múlà. Tí mo ní mo gbàgbé fọ́múlà, ẹ rán mi pé kí n gbéra látoríta mẹ́rin kí n mọ gba bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ, kí n bá dé bẹ̀rẹ̀ kí n gba pọ̀tún kí n yà sí ọjà Aba. Èmi ọ̀wá mọ̀ tí mo fẹ́ sọ o ní ìsìngbà tẹ́yìn náà lẹ gbàgbé o.
Èmi náà máa yà sọ́jà Ọba náà ni. Ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti béèrè wọ́n fi fọ́tò aṣọ ẹ̀ hàn wọ́n.
Ẹ ṣeun ọjà ọba náà sì dáa ṣùgbọ́n òjé lẹ̀ bá lọ ọjà ọba tẹ́ fẹ́ lọ ń.
Òjé ilé àdúgbò wa nìyẹn sóòyìn ò tiẹ̀ ní rárá.
Òjé. So welcome everybody. We cannot wait more than this. We are waiting for people. Once more, I like to thank everybody for coming here again today. I'm still looking for Dokita Olopolo. I don't know whether it's here. Okay. Me ku o me run o. Kaide mi agbera fo odi ka ilele. Ẹni má lọ kó má lọ òwe. Ọ̀run re o agbe mi fọ́ ó dálẹ̀. Àlùkò mi fọ́ ó dòwúrọ̀ o ẹ̀wọ̀n ráàyè. Ewé oníyè ní tòun di láéláé. Ewé oníyè is the one that I pluck today. And I pluck many. I give it to every member. I give one leaf to every member of Yoruba Gbode. Because Ewe Oniye said, tòun di láíláí, àní kú àní rùn. A máa lọ, a máa bọ̀yàn tó bá ní ká má bọ̀ láàní bánlé láṣẹ àwọn tó nílẹ̀. Nítorí pé wọ́n mú mi lápá, mo tápárá, wọ́n mú mi lẹ́sẹ̀, mo yẹ̀bẹ̀sẹ̀. Àjòkan èyí tí wọ́n mú mi rè yí èmi ò mọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ni mo fi wá ní ẹ sọ fún alára kó fẹnu yọ̀ wí tèmi ẹnu yọ̀. Ẹ sọ fún ajérò kó fẹnu yọ̀ wí tèmi ẹnu yọ̀. Tewé tàgbà ní péjú wòlíìlí, egúngún kì í wọjà kí tọmọdé tàgbà máa wòran. Ṣì bàbá yìí láàpé tá a fi wo sinimá. Good afternoon. My name is Shola Yusuf. On behalf of this gorgeous program and the excellent team, starting from Baba Moye, Ọ̀mọ̀wé Adéníran Adébóyè, to Dr. Biyi Oyefule, to Engineer Àgbà Baba Thomas Oyetunde Bankole. I like to welcome everybody. And also you, the Koyekogbos on Yoruba Gbode. I like to thank you for coming again today. We have started an important program. We were talking about the beginning of Nigeria. And I said it last week. If you don't know who you are, it is difficult to ask for development. It's actually difficult for you to grow if you don't know who you are. So where do you start your growth? So let me welcome Baba Adéníran Adébóyè to this important program. Baba, welcome.
Ẹ kú wájú sà, ẹ kú wájú mà, ẹ kú wájú gbogbo èèyàn. Inú mi dùn láti wà níbí lónìí o.
Yeah, Baba, thank you, sir. We said we are going to do this in English, but if you want me to shift to Yoruba.
Okay.
I will.
I'm sorry. I'm here. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here today, and I hope that our audience comes regularly. I hope everybody will participate. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to say that we are ending this program today at 5 o'clock. I know some people won't come on time, and then when they come, they will be asking the same question that has been asked before. Where it's not fair to people who come right on time. So that is what is going to happen. We are ending Yoruba Gbode at 5 o'clock today. Our people will say, Kini àgbẹ̀ ń ṣe lóko tó ń dọ̀gànjọ́, àfẹ́yí tó bá fẹ́ jí iṣu ẹgbẹ́ rẹ̀ wà. I can translate. What is a farmer doing when he's staying till midnight, unless he wants to steal some of the tuber yams from the other farmer? And he is just waiting for darkness to creep in.
Olótù.
Yes, sir.
Àwọn àgbẹ̀ wa ń bì wọ́n máa ń tanná ṣiṣẹ́ o tán bá lórí tractor wọn gbogbo tẹ́ bá dóko lálẹ́ a máa rí wọn tán tanná ṣiṣẹ́ o.
Yeah, and there's but Kishoganjo, midnight till 12 midnight, Baba.
Ìbọn bá parí
Except,
iṣẹ́ náà. Ìbọn bá
àwọn
parí
tó ń
iṣẹ́
ṣe
náà parí.
àwọn tó ń
except
ṣe ti aago méjì wà aago méjì òru.
okay, so how did that proverb come in? Kilagbe nse lóko tó ń dọ̀gànjọ́.
Lọ́dọ̀
How
wa
did it come in?
nìyẹn. Lọ́dọ̀ wa nìyẹn.
Oh, okay. And also, don't forget that there's something that we call tamashoko.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
When the sun will refuse
Sunset.
set. The sun will refuse to set.
Yeah.
And then the farmer will be there because they think it's still daylight. So thank you, Baba. Dr. B. Oyefule. I opened with a Ijebu song. So you owe me some money.
Àwọn Ìjẹ̀bú ń kọrin ṣá.
Ṣé tí ń gbọ́ nǹkan tá a bá dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ sí alàgbà láti lọ́dún a sọ pé àsọjù là ń sọ ṣé rí pàánà kan búyàn.
Gbàṣẹ́gun.
I was making an observation.
And the money will be paid in pounds.
Ṣé rí pàánà London ló ń sọ̀kò àwọn ló kọ́ sọ òkò àkọ́kọ́.
The money will
I
be
was
paid in
merely
pounds.
making an observation.
Ashegun, you are well noted, and we shall retaliate. Like
No,
you
Mama,
said.
I'm looking forward to it.
We shall retaliate.
Oh, that's very interesting. Please retaliate. Gbàṣẹ́gun, I also welcome you to this program.
Yes.
Baba Ekujo Meta.
Apologies for last week. Sunday difficult for me, dear. But my brother sent me the video of last week's
Program.
meeting. Yes, and I looked through it. And if you give me a few minutes, I would like to make some response to some of the things that were said.
Okay, as we go on, I'm going to call you, and you will have that opportunity to do that, sir. Thank you so much.
It is going to be an observation,
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
So,
Gbàṣẹ́gun is the same thing that we're going to continue. Because we want to, and we are speaking English because we want other people to benefit from it. Especially we have other people in Nigeria who do not speak this noble language. And sometimes they will say, Odorola Nishe, because we don't want them to hear what we say. But that's not the case. Well, Yoruba lo Gbode, but we want other people to learn from us because the brain is from Yoruba. Yoruba lo ni ọpọlọ. We are just giving other people opportunity to gain from us, to learn from us. And that is why sometimes we want to speak English. But if the majority think we should speak Yoruba,
No. I'm not saying that. I want to support Yoruba. They must know our intention. Our intention is not to do Joro, but to promote the use of our language, the understanding of our culture by the owners. Hello?
Yes, Baba, we are all hearing you. We are all with you, Baba.
We want to speak our language. I've never found an Englishman speaking Yoruba in this kind of program.
Baba, please raise your camera. Raise your camera up. Ojúlọ̀rọ̀ wa ẹni abánké wiki lójúlójú ní wo ni. Baba Kepe, you getting younger every day without giving us the secret.
McDonald's àti Diet Pepsi.
Baba is the new Attorney General. Baba is the new Attorney General for Trump.
Baba eat amala and
the Trump diet.
You're there for Abalamo Esheje Tennessee pẹ̀lú ọbẹ̀ ńlá.
Baba is the new Attorney General for Trump.
ọmọ kò wá mi o.
Ibi tẹ́ gbé bọ̀dá mi lọ yẹn ó ga díẹ̀. So we were talking about Nigeria, and we are going to move forward today between our amoyes. We last week, Dr. Yefule talked to us about Lagos. Òyìnbó wọ́n fẹ́ gbalẹ̀ wọ́n ń tanra wọn. But we thank God that we own Lagos up to now. So Dr. Yefule talked to us about Lagos. There was a conference before colonialism. So the conference preceded colonialism in Nigeria. Remember that we talk about the Edo and the invasion. When the Edo people, they were the producer of palm oil. And probably that was what attracted the Europeans to come to our land. And we got it from information that this slave trading started with the Edo people because they had power, they had everything. They were very good in artistic foundation and everything. And they were also rich in palm oil, which brought the Oyinbo here. The engine oil that we thought was imported, it was actually from our red oil in the beginning. But the Benin City was so beautiful that even the Dutchman came here and he said, he can compare it with Amsterdam, Australia, and all these big, big things. But after some time, the Edo people, they started, in Nigeria, or let's say black race, when they think they have some power, they engage in wars and everything. So they were able to capture some people from Ekiti, Kare, this and that. And then, like the history that I read, they were encouraged to start selling all these slaves, the captives. They started selling them according to what we had. So that started. But I want Baba Adeniran Adeboye to take us from there to the Berlin Conference and eventually what led to colonialism. Thank you.
Thank you, Olotu. If we start from, let's say, the alleged end of slave trade in 1807, all the ships that were used for shipping people from the slave coast to Europe and to America now changed usage to ship something else. That is, the Europeans began to look for some other kind of trade that will be just as productive, perhaps even more productive than slave trade. And so they formed all new companies. The, what do you call it, East India Trade Company, that was a major company during the slave era, they converted it to Royal Niger Company, and then later on UAC, AJ Tangalakis, and so on and so forth, in order to do trade of commodities and bring them here. That was going on at least between 1807 and 1886. Something else may have been going on, but that's what was the principal activity there. It was Tubman Goldie who founded the Royal Niger Company and converted it to United Africa Company. But toward what purpose? in Europe, Germany, Ottoman von Bismarck wanted to participate fully in exploitation of Africa. He had just become head of the country and he wanted to be reckoned with. So he called a conference to Berlin. And it was at the Berlin conference that the European countries, what they call European powers, had to sit down and do demarcation of their areas of influence, spheres of influence. And that was done 1885, 1886, and that's how what would later on be called Nigeria became was declared a British sphere of influence. It was a sphere of influence. It would become a colony. It would become a protectorate or a bunch of protectorates later on. So there I stop. I think from there, Dr. Olopolo will be able to guide us to what happened.
To 1914, right?
Well, to 1900 and then to 1914. Well, 1900 was really, January 1, 1900, really was when they declared the territory that we call Nigeria. It was 1900 that they declared it and included something they already had. They already had called the colony of Lagos. So, but between 1900 and 1914, it was just one monolithic Nigeria, divided into Northern Protectorate and Southern Protectorate, but not nothing more until 1914 when they amalgamated protectorates into Nigeria. Anyway, wait.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Baba. Ẹni tí ó fi ìdí àdá pa àjànàkú, wọ́n ṣe díẹ̀ lọ́bẹ̀, ẹran ni wọn ò jẹ. That is, mo pa. Oh, when I get this cutlass, I'm going to just cut the lion and then the lion will die. So when somebody said that, he has really done a lot. The only thing is, he didn't put the meat on the table for us to eat. that was that. But we thank Baba for going beyond that. Baba have started us with the history since last week, and we know Baba, when it comes to history, we can rely, we can trust Baba. And I remember in those days when we were doing Omo Odu at Yahoo, I don't know whether that forum is still on, Omo Odu at yahoo.com, Baba, on the...
Say me or remove.
Yeah. So it got to a point that somebody from the East was like, Baba, go on. And somebody from Ijebu actually said, go to the East and look for your Baba. Leave our Baba alone. And the person was like, Baba, are you actually a mathematician or an historian? So, Baba, we thank God for your knowledge. We thank God for your wisdom. And may you live forever. Amen. So, Dókítà Olopolo, you are welcome, sir. Last week, you started us.
There we are. Yes, go ahead, please.
So we started with the story of Lagos, and then we move forward. Can you take us from there to 1990?
Yes, I will be happy to. You see, after the 1861 annexation of Lagos, a lot of things happened in what will later in the area the geographical area that later became Nigeria.
Mm.
You see, 1861 annexation of Lagos took place. In 1892.
Mm.
Actually, before 1892 set in, because that was a monumental event that occurred. But prior to that, in 1888, the Europeans haven't recently come out of, haven't recently started coming to Africa with one aim in mind: land grabbing, trade, and easing the ability of their citizens to trade with the Africans. That was the utmost thing in their mind. Now remember, Industrial Revolution was going on in Europe, in England, and spreading all over Europe, and they needed lubricants for their machinery. And the lubricant then, unlike the petroleum-based lubricants we have now, the lubricant they used then was nothing but palm oil. Epo pupa, no fish, lubricant. So they needed people to grow palm oil all over the rainforest of, or in our case, rainforest of West Africa. Anywhere going from Fernando Po to the east and going westwards through Nigeria, what later became Nigeria, what later became Benin, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire. They were encouraging people not to enslave each other, but to grow palm oil for the European use. So this went on until 1884, 1884 Berlin Conference, which started, I think it started in November 15th, 1884, lasted until February 26th, 1885. In that conference in Berlin, major European nations met to decide all questions connected with they started off with the Congo River Basin in Central Africa, and eventually they ended up partitioning Africa. And by 1885, 1886, each and every one of them, without asking for the opinion of Africans, had divided the continent among themselves. Now, after the Berlin Conference, which officially ended in 1885, there was a monumental event that took place in what later became Nigeria. First of all, the trade has been going on. The Europeans have been going into the hinterland. In 1888, they signed a treaty with Alaafin of Oyo, and things were going on well. However, the Ijebu refused to allow the Europeans to set foot on Ijebu territory. Well, that was very difficult. That was very difficult, because how will they come from Oyo interland and get to the coast without going through Ijebu territory? They have to either go through Ondo or go westward towards Badagry. But if they have the opportunity to go straight through the through the Ijebu territory, it will be a much easier trip for them. So, after signing dubious treaties, which turned out not to be treaties with the Ijebus, the British people in what later became Nigeria decided to declare war against the Ijebus.
Wọ́n forí ejò họ mú.
Yeah. You see, Ijebus were well known fún agídí and fún strategic moves. Everybody knew them. And everybody expected an early defeat, easy defeat by the Ijebu to whoop these colorless people, that's what they call them, colorless people who wanted to invade us. Well, the fight started in 1892 at a place called, not too far from Ekpe, current Ekpe in Lagos State, which was which is an Ijebu town. The artillery and the invaders came in through Ekpe port. There was a small port there, and they moved inwards, and they met the Ijebu forces at a little town called Imagbon. Imagbon is about probably just about 10 kilometers, if that much, northwest of Ekpe. There the battle occurred. Let me remind us that it was not only the Ijebus who fought in that 1892 war. Individuals like my own maternal grandfather, who was an Ife man, actually came south from Ife to assist the Ijebus. And of course, the thinking at that time was these colorless people are going to be wooed by the Ijebus, and we're all going to live happily ever after. But unfortunately, or rather, fortunately, the initial onslaught by the Britishers was successfully repelled by the Ijebus. Man to man fight, the Ijebu could always fare very well against the Britishers. But after the initial success of the Ijebus, the Maxim gun came into foreplay. And the Ijebu guns were no match for the Maxim guns. Later on, the Britishers brought in the Gatling machine gun. The Gatling gun was a machine gun which was invented during the American Civil War, during the War of 1863. Dr. Gatling, a dentist who had learned how to do gunsmithing, used his extra expertise to invent a gun named after him, Gatling gun, which was able to fire rounds, repeated rounds. And of course, the Ijebu were they had no defense against the Gatling gun. And eventually, Ijebu capitulated to the British onslaught. But that was not all. After the Ijebu onslaught in 1892...
the Ijebu were defeated?
Yes.
Baba, Ijebu were defeated?
Yes.
Because of the Gatling gun?
The Gatling gun and the onslaught, the forward moving of the Britishers eventually caused the Ijebu to be defeated. But
before you go ahead, Dr. Olopolo,
sure.
The Gatling gun, is it different from the machine gun,
Gatling gun is the original type of machine gun. If you had seen on Western movies, US Western movies, a gun that people whine and the bullet comes on the other end, the person shooting it is whining it on the back.
Wow, that's the Gatling gun.
Yeah, Gatling gun, the circular in shape, and I
Wow.
think they loaded bullets into them, and as the person rolls them, a hammer goes in and shoot out the bullet on the other end. So the rapid firing,
Thank you.
yeah, the rapid firing of the Gatling gun, the Jabus had no defense against it. However, the Jabus were defeated, but people from the hinterland refused to believe that the Ijabus, as formidable as they were, could be defeated by these colorless people. So people sent emissary to Ijebu to find out. People came all the way from Oyo, came all the way from Ekiti land, all the way from Ondo, northern part of Ondo land, to find out, did these people actually defeat the formidable Ijebus? The answer was yes, unfortunately. And most of the soldiers who had warriors who had come in from the hinterland with the intention of participating in the war, take some Eru and take some Eru back home, could not go back home. And there was too much shame in it. So people like my own grandfather ended up in Ijebu land, and we became Ijebus. So,
Wow.
so when I tell people that all we Yorubas are one and the same, I wasn't kidding. You see, we are one and the same. We accept each other. Except, of course,
You aren't kidding. You are all part of the Empire.
So after the Ijebu War of 1892, of course, Ijebu land was partitioned. The Britishers gave colonial masters, stationed their district officers in Ijebu land, and they did the best to destroy the Ijebu's culture and tradition. So 1892 went on, and after they have settled themselves in Ijebu land, of course, they went on in 1897 to fight against the Edos. The Britishers did, and we spoke about that last week. So so that's how things went until eventually 1892 occurred, 1897 occurred, and in 1900, several significant events did occur. You know, the charter of the Royal Niger Company was revoked on January 1st, 1900, and this tension within the Lagos Protectorate over boundaries and resulting mineral concession for the British. Now remember, the Britishers did not come to fight us with Gatling guns and did all the perform all the atrocities because they love to be there. No, they came for only one thing: trade and possession of the land. Not only what can grow above the land, like palm oil, but also the mineral concession under the soil. So the British government assumed direct control of the company that had been there before, which is the Royal Niger Company. So thank you. That's a Gatling gun right there.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. So, that brought us to 1900, and by that time, the country Nigeria was in the process of being formed by the Britishers. Of course, southern Nigeria was there, and northern protectorate was also there. And of course, from 1900, we got to 1914, where the notorious amalgamation of the two protectorates was done. There we are.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yefule. I'm very grateful. I'm going to call Baba Oyetunde Bankole, and I'm going to ask him to give us a reflection. What the reflection of this on what is happening to us today, of where we are today, the reflection of this story on where we are today in Nigeria. I know now that you also look like you could be the Attorney General for Trump. Welcome, sir. So can you reflect about all these events and how and what influence, what impact you can see in a nutshell that it has on Nigeria, especially as we are clamoring for a Yoruba nation?
Thank you very much, Olotu. Thank you, Baba Adeboye and Baba Oyefule. You guys have really done justice to the history of colonialism. Well, when we look at colonialism, we see that they came with force. They didn't come with glove in hand. And that has really affected us. It has traumatized the whole people of Africa. Their coming did not bring joy to us. Unfortunately, some of our forefathers aligned with them to perpetrate evil. But even then, those people were forced to do whatever they did. Like our Obas, they said our Obas signed treaties and things like that. Well, the Oba would not willingly sign a treaty to give off his land, but for the fact that there was a force behind him, there was a threat or being killed or something behind. So these are things that are not open to so many people when they start condemning Obas. And when we look at the situation right now in Africa, that trauma that was laid down in those days still persists, because doctors or scientists will tell you that it takes generations for those things to really wane off. When you compare it with people here in North America, the blacks that were brought, you will find out the same thing. Because of what we suffered from these colonialists, we found it difficult to move on our own. And even up till now, they have not left us. They are still there on our necks. Their knees are still on our necks. They have not really left Africa. They may not be there physically, but their influence is still prevalent all over Africa, be it France, be it Italy, UK, Arabs, yeah, they all have that influence still on Africa. The Arabs have that religious influence on us. And because of the wealth they have, they can destabilize any area of Africa today. They can do that. I mean, they're even doing it in Europe. Though we are not talking about Europe today, but they can destabilize with the money they have, with the influence they have, the Arabs can destabilize any government in Africa today. And the Europeans can also do so much. We've read how many times France has tried to eliminate Traore. I mean, this is to tell you that even though they are not there physically, they have stooges, they have people who work for them among our own people, not even theirs. We have people from Africa who align with them because of what they gain, because of material gains. They work with them and they make it possible for them to prevail in their in their atrocities. So I don't know how we Africans can move forward from this thing, but we need to move forward. We need to. I was thinking that with this new revolution by Traore and the others, we could do something. But these days, I don't know, because I read so much about him. I read a lot that gladdens me, but then when I look at those information, it looks like it's too good to be true. Is it AI generated or what? I don't know. But there has been so much attributed to Traore and his people, and also with those other head of state that came in by wave in 2024. But what I know is that if we can get our young guys, our young Nigerians to get involved, I mean, sorry, not Nigerians, Africans, if younger Africans who come to power, young Africans who know that who haven't been drunken with to stupor by this British wine that goes around in Africa. I think if those people can come in power, we can prevail on them. But the way things are going now with our aged presidents, our you know them all over Africa. Those aged presidents, they are not there to help us. So we have to find a way out of this bondage that we are. It's perennial. It continues. Thank you, Olotu.
I feel so blessed with what you have said. And I'm very, very grateful that you give us a deep reflection on this issue. Ọpọlọ yín ò ní jọba láṣẹ Olúwa. Thank you so much, Engineer Agba. Thank you. So if you are just coming in, this is Yoruba Gbode. We are talking about Nigeria, the beginning, after the Berlin Conference. How did we go? How did we move? And we have started since last week. And we are going to continue to explore this topic so that we can learn. People will say, if you don't know where you are coming from, you don't know where you're going. And if somebody doesn't know where he or she is going, it's like lifeless. So I'm very grateful for our Amoye, from Baba Amoye to Baba Oyefule and Engineer Agba, what they have fed us with on this particular topic. So, like I said, we are going to finish 5 o'clock, 5:15. That is what we are going to do today. Please, let's with each other to make this happen. I'm going to call back Segun. Please, let's look at where we are coming from the Lagos history that Baba Oyefule told us up until the Berlin Conference and the beginning in 1914. So let's concentrate our questions on this. But meanwhile, I'm going to call back he said, Bashegun, you are on, sir.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. I think I'm going to start with Lagos. If you have read the 1888 treaty between Queen Victoria and the Alaafin, in the request that the Queen Victoria made to the Alaafin for a treaty, in that letter of request, it clearly stated that Lagos was a Yoruba-speaking colony. So when people say Lagos was no man's land, this is said by the ignoramus. Because in the letter of 1888, of 23rd May 1888, it was clearly stated that Lagos was a Yoruba-speaking colony. So the next thing that I wanted to just talk about briefly before I move on is when I looked at the video from last week, there was an impression given that because the Alaafin couldn't write his signature, just made an X, that a court might say that's not a signature. I'm afraid that's legally wrong. That's a legally wrong information. The law does not prescribe the type of signature or what you do to make a signature. You can make it with your blood. You can put a drop of your blood. You can make it with an X. You can use your thumbprint. What is important in important documents, which all of us have signed before, for example, if you make a passport application, is that there is somebody to witness your signature. It doesn't matter what your signature is. What the passport application says, and other things says, is that a professional should witness your signature. And in the case of the 1888 treaty with the Alaafin, it was witnessed by a clergyman, Reverend Johnson, Samuel Johnson. So the signature was actually sealed. So there's no court in the United Kingdom that will say that the signature or the cross that the Alaafin made is not authentic. I thought I needed to deal with that. And I've dealt with the question of Lagos. Now, when we are talking about the history of Yoruba land, from the 1800s, it's a lot more complicated and a lot more nuanced than we actually think it is. It isn't as, even the Berlin Conference, it's not that we always say it led to the partition of Africa. So it's not actually as straightforward as that. And what I will advise anybody to do is to go and read the Berlin Act of 1865. I think you'll find it very interesting to read. I actually wrote, there were 14 countries that were involved in the conference. And I wrote to those of them that didn't have colonies in Africa to really, to accuse them of being part of the conspiracy. In fact, I've only just paid I think 50 quid or something for a copy of the Swedish version, because each country had its own version. So they sent me a Swedish version, which of course I can't read. And I've only just paid, I think it's about 50 quid that it cost me for their version, which is sent to, they sort of photocopied the original and sent to me. But of course I couldn't read it. Now, so the story is a lot more complicated than we sometimes make it. I mean, for example, the Berlin Act, I can't remember whether it's section 1.3 or something like that, actually stated that the conference powers, that the 14 of them, could not sign a free trade treaty without the consent of, that is, if you signed a free trade treaty, you can only sign it with an independent sovereign state. Most of us actually have never read that bit of it, which brings us to the 1888 treaty that the Queen Victoria signed with the Alaafin. I think one of the problems that I see is that most people have actually never read or thought deeply about that treaty. That treaty is very profound. And it is unfortunate that some people who, I don't know, because they've been at this self-determination thing for a long time, are so blinded that they cannot see any other thing. And what I'm about to say, I don't actually like saying it, but I think I don't know whether you can see me properly. But I think at some stage this needs to be said. I will start first of all by saying that the Yoruba Party in the UK is not in competition with Yoruba self-determination organizations. We are a political party. We are in competition with UK political parties. You know, the Conservative Party, the Labour Party. We are not at all in competition with Yoruba self-determination organizations. We have nothing to do with them at all. However, as a political voice of the Yoruba in the UK, we are entitled to educate our people. And part of that education is to compare and contrast the self-determination provisions of the African and the UN charters with the provisions of the 1888 Britain Yoruba Land Treaty. That's a huge, very huge difference between the two. And it is important that those who are activists, who are involved in campaigning for Yoruba self-determination, it is important that they understood the difference between the two. The charters are just promissory notes. That's all they are. They are nothing more than promissory notes. All they say is that the Yoruba are entitled, what the Yoruba are entitled to as human beings, that as human beings, you are entitled to self-determination. That's what it says. But the experience of Somaliland and Northwest Africa, Sahrawi Republic, you know, that Morocco insists on keeping, their experience tells us that the charter rights are not enforceable. The UN Charter says you're entitled to this. African Charter says you are entitled to this, but you cannot enforce it. In other words, charter rights are really not concrete. They are not solid. You can't use charter rights to persuade any country to recognize Yoruba land or Yoruba nation. You can't use. But the difference is that the 1888 treaty is a legal instrument. That's the difference. It's not an aspiration. It's not an aspiration like the charter, or it's not a gift or whatever. The 1888 treaty is a legal instrument.
Thank you.
Please let me just give me a couple of minutes to finish this.
That Allah please signed. Are you referring?
I will finish in 2 minutes. What the treaty has done was to establish Yoruba land as a country. It's in the treaty. It says Yoruba land is a country to which Britain accorded.
Are you talking about that?
No, I'm moving forward.
Okay.
Slow. Maybe I'm going too slowly. What I'm trying to say is that the treaty is a legal instrument.
Okay.
And what the treaty says,
binding.
Yes, it's a legal instrument. It is binding, and it is important to know what it actually says. It says that Yoruba land is a country. It's a country that Britain wanted to have peace and friendship with, trade with, and a country that possessed the ability to have relations with other countries. At least it's got an international personality. That is established in law. What has happened is that Britain has frustrated this treaty. So they've done all sorts of things to frustrate the treaty. In fact, the amalgamation started with order in council in 1913. I think it's 22nd of November 1913, when George V promulgated the Nigeria Colony Order in Council, in which Yoruba land was then incorporated. But before then, if you look at the various others in council that Queen Victoria was, until Elizabeth II, was the longest reigning monarch in British history, and she was the mother of empire. So when this woman, this queen, signed a treaty with Yoruba land, it is a big thing. And the treaty is similar to the sort of treaty that they signed everywhere, with China, with Japan. But for some reason, we have not prosecuted this treaty. And one of the things that I hope is that the more people learn about the 1888 treaty, the more they will see that this is something to support if we are going to get Yoruba nation. That this is our avenue to getting Yoruba nation. I'm going to pause
So
there
you
because
think, thank you. So you are saying that we have tools that we are not using.
Exactly. Okay. And this treaty is one of those tools. If you take the Chagos Island, for example. These people, even though they number to, I don't know, maybe less than 5,000 people, they've been going backwards and forwards from British courts since 2000. They went to court to enforce their human rights that were violated. And they went to court because their sovereignty was being taken from them. Yes, in the end, I mean, they have lost because the last piece of the legal battle, which has just gone through in Britain, was one judge saying they were right, and then a second judge saying they were wrong, and immediately Britain signed something with Mauritius.
Thank you.
I will just finish with this. That everywhere that Britain has had a colony has ended up in trouble.
Chaos.
Look at India and Pakistan. They've just. I mean, how long have they been fighting? Look at Palestine. How long have they been fighting? Everywhere that they've been, they've tried to mess up everything that the natives are doing, impose whatever it is they wish to impose, usually against the treaties that they had signed. Because that was the point of the Phoenicians, that these people signed treaties and they will not enforce the treaties. And that is what we need to insist, that the government of the United Kingdom fulfills its obligations to us. Thank you.
Okay. So we take which means what we should do is to take them up on what they were supposed to do and they did not do it. So if you are just coming in on Yoruba Gbode, we are talking about Nigeria from beginning till now, reflections, the problem. Eku tó dá eléyìí sílẹ̀ ló ń jẹ́ ẹ̀dá. Ẹ̀dá is the troublemaker, which is UK. Baba Amoye, you are on, sir. Thank you so much, Basegun. Thank you. We are grateful for your insight. Yes, thank you. Baba, you are on, sir.
UK Barao.
Thank you. I also want to thank Basegun for its presentation. And I want to remind all of us that our elders have said, and I repeat, ọ̀nà kan ò wọjà. Nothing that was discussed last week suggested that the Yoruba Party should discontinue its struggle to make the Treaty of 1888, the instrument for Yoruba autonomy, for Yoruba nation to reemerge. However, the kind of activity that have gone on since 1888 indicate that, well, not just that the man with the gun is the majority, but that law is often interpreted to meet expediency. So I'm going to pick up what I said last week, that a court might interpret the treaty differently from what we expect. Number one, even today, they often have you to sign something. They put an X there to show where you should sign, to agree to something. Now, in 1888, was that X an indication of where the Alaafin should sign, or did it constitute a signature? Bashirgun has now tried to clarify that by saying all you need is a witness. It's not. It doesn't matter what you put in there. You put your blood. You could put anything that says you agree to the above document, as long as there's somebody there to witness it. Now, that person witnessing it, does he put an X or does he sign? Those are questions we have to deal with. And more importantly, though, it's a question of interpretation more than 100 years after the fact by a court that is not totally not prejudiced. I am not saying don't go. Please go, because I cannot forecast the disposition of the courts. I was just saying that is a path, a very strong path, by the way. But it shouldn't stop other people from looking for methods of bringing us the nirvana that we are looking for on the Waja. And eventually, maybe all of these methods put together in collaboration, in cooperation, will get us where we are going. I'm holding this book so that you can see where some of my own thinking comes from. It's called the Global Atlas, a new view of the world from space. It's a very recent book. It looks raggedy, but it was published after Nigeria's independence. And I'm looking at the introduction to it. It's from the introduction that I'm going to read you a passage. The passage I'm reading you, the person who wrote the introduction was Bertram Arthur William Russell, a British lord, grandson of a British prime minister, mathematician of unbelievable repute, but a philosopher of uncommon eminence. At age 42, he went to prison for saying things against the First World War. He was born in 1872. Anyway, here is what he said. I can't read the whole thing, but this paragraph I'm going to read. It says, man has a great advantage over almost every other species of animal, namely, that owing to the fire and clothing, you can live anywhere, and not only where the climate is clement. Now, here is the next line. Commerce and piracy, which have not always been easily distinguishable, have spread the culture of seafaring nations to the remotest parts of the Earth's surface, sometimes this culture has prevailed completely, as in the Western, sometimes as in the Western Hemisphere, like Americas. Sometimes it has roused fierce opposition, as in very many parts of Asia and Africa. But everywhere it has brought about important interconnections, sometimes friendly, sometimes unfriendly, which have made it impossible for any nation to live in a comfortable isolation. That's Russell. People who know more about him will know that he stood out among British people more for what is right than just the power to implement. Later on today, I will read another part of his presentation. I think I've read it before, in which he was hoping that our time of re-emergence will come. Now, why am I reading all of this? To emphasize what they say in Ilesha, where Bashigo comes from.
I'm from Ijebu, sir.
Okay, you're from
Okay.
Ó ní òyìnbó tó ṣe pẹ́ńsù náà ló ṣe rè sà. Àbí òkè sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ lè jẹ́ sà.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni o. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
That is what I'm afraid of. The treaty, I don't know, a treaty of 1888, 2 to 3 years after the Berlin Conference. Was it a formalism, or was it a legal document or a fake legal document? You will find out in court which way it is. The same British people and their American successors had signed treaties with the natives of North America that Russia was referring to there. Those treaties are whatever is expedient. Today, documents that attempt to give Black people in America rights of citizenship are being poo-pooed as DUI, what do they call it again? Whatever
DEI.
DEI. And amazingly, the cause have been fairly strong in trying to fight it, but eventually they weaken. So then since you are not from Ilesha, you are from Ijebu, I'm going to go to Ijebu and say
Akriboto.
I will go to Akriboto and say Ele Ekulu Lobe. Obviously, my dramatizing Russell as his grandson of a prime minister of England, my other things that I often say, wonder very loud, why have the British been able to go against their own treaties, the treaties that they signed, to go against them and change things overnight? If Yoruba was a country, why in 1888? What happened in 1900? Take Lagos as I say it was already a colony in 1861. They didn't sign a treaty with Oba of Lagos. They signed it. I mean, that was a different instrument. But the point I'm making is this. People, and hence countries and nations, often operate more out of expediency than law. Of course, the purpose of law, of the rule of law, is to sometimes drag people back to whatever they committed to before. And that's why I was treating some of the things that they wrote down there with suspicion. I am from Gbode City.
City now. It's now city.
No. Don't confuse Gbege City with Gbege Empire. Gbege City is the capital of Gbege Empire. But let's go back. What does Gbege have to do with what I'm saying? People, when Abiodun died, Alaafin Abiodun died, and one of his children could not make it to become the next Alaafin, he had to quit town. And he left town with a following. He carried a crown with him and roamed around places until eventually he got to Gbagam. Why am I saying that? Well, it is very clear to me that whatever treaty you signed with a later Alaafin, like Aloolodu, what is important about a treaty is its enforceability. Why did the British...
To be able to enforce it.
Yes. If one person breaks the treaty and the other person is not able to enforce it, is the treaty still a treaty? Well, practice of law may have something to say about that. I'm not a lawyer.
Well, if you ask me, I will answer.
Well, I may ask you, but let me continue
this train of question,
let me continue this train of thought.
Okay.
In India, for over 400 years, the British had relationships with the leaders of India.
The Raj.
The Raj, which they violated right, left, and center. It was not until 1946-47, after the Second World War, and Britain was weak and needed only help to even survive. They needed help from the America that came in form of the Marshall Plan. And then India, who had fought on the British side because it was a colony of Britain, just like Nigerians did at that time. Especially the what do they call them? They fought, like, and they helped to conquer the other side. I mean, the Allied powers are where the British were, but they helped in the conquest by the West. And then they were going to engage the British because they wanted independence. What they had in Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Nehru and other people whose names are forgotten, helped them to organize themselves into something that looked formidable. And India at that time was one of the largest, if not the largest, quote and unquote, colonies. It was because their ability to fight was feared. That's what they had. Their ability to fight for what they wanted was feared, especially when they are fighting a colonial power that had already been weakened by several years of World War II. I put that aside. Let's go to China. 2 years after India managed to extract independence from Britain, what happened in China? Mao Zedong and Chu Enlai and all of those people decided to wage their own independence movement.
That's right.
They were not appealing to treaties any more than India was. They showed how much loss you will have to sustain to prevent China from being independent. Let's leave the place. Let's go to Korea. Korea was also fighting to become independent. Eventually, it had to be partitioned into North Korea and South Korea. Let's go to Vietnam. Anything below the 40th parallel eventually ended up as what they call South Vietnam because Vietnam as a country wasn't fighting hard enough, but they didn't give up. At the end of the day, by when it was Nixon in office, by that time, Vietnam had to go back to its owners. None of those people, to the best of my knowledge, was able to get their autonomy simply on the basis of treaty that somebody signed. There was something to back up their askings. We are going to have to find some method of it can be forced, it can be whatever it is, but we are going to have to find some method for telling the world how serious we are about our reemergence. Now, many people who come to Yoruba Gbode say things that some people may find annoying. I don't find it annoying. They say, oh, we're on one Sunday, talk. What are we going to do? When are you going to do something? I don't know when we are going to do something because I don't know what kind of something they are talking about. But I know Yoruba Gbode.
If we are going to do anything at all.
Well, fine. The point of the matter is whether we are going to do anything at all or not depends on what we think we know. And I'm going to walk across now from Igbadarigi to Ilokoja to Warri to Wasimi to Ibagbon.
Hello?
Oh, I got you. What percentage of our people really understand our predicament? If the percentage is nothing to talk about, how do we change that? Because if you don't change that, I must speak English. If you put down voting boxes now for a referendum in Yoruba country and say, we want to vote yes or no for independence, you'll be shocked what the outcome will be because we are asking people to vote on the basis of what they don't know diddly about. The importance of Yoruba Gbode and such like programs is to educate our people to get ready to have the kind of understanding that will ready them to fight for our right. If we already have enough, fine, then let's go ahead and do it. If law will settle it in the British cause, fine. But we must pursue what we are pursuing at more than one angle. I am a believer in almost what everybody is doing, even if I'm not doing it with them, because I'm a Yoruba. And Yoruba say, Onakawaja. Thank you.
Did you want me to respond? Because
please.
I mean, you have said a lot of things.
Okay.
I try to write everything down, but it's not easy.
Please, let's limit. Bashegun, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please, let's limit the response to a minute at the most, because of other people and because we are closing at 5. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Instead of going all the way to China, to India, I will go to Southwest Africa, Sahrawi Republic, and I will go to Somaliland, where people actually voted in a referendum to have their own country, and still they don't have their own country. So the difficulty is not just simply whether the treaty or not a treaty. We as Yoruba people are intellectually gifted enough to be able to fight a treaty and win. That's my own belief. And it is the belief that has carried me to be successful as an orthopedic surgeon in the UK. To a point of being elected to the General Medical Council in this country. So I am not at all fazed with the fact that they may not have done this somewhere else and so on and so forth. And in terms of our people, my belief is that they sent me to be educated to provide leadership. They're not looking for somebody to come and try and to come and ask them what they should do. They are looking for people to lead them the way that Awolowo led them. That's what our people are looking for. And the idea that they may not vote for independence of Yoruba land, I won't be so sure. Remember Midwest, the referendum of the Midwest.
I remember.
The Bakassi Peninsula, the northern Cameroon, they also had referenda. So the idea that our people, if you go and talk to them and you say it is better for you to be outside of Nigeria and they will not appreciate it, I don't agree. I don't agree at all. And I will say something. The experience of those of us, we knew people in the diaspora, and I count myself, those of us who left Nigeria, say 50 years ago. Our experience is that we have flourished in this environment.
Mm-hmm.
I have publication, over 85 publications in scientific journal. I didn't say because somebody hadn't done it before, I wouldn't do it. So I am not fazed at all. I am not afraid. I will take the case to court. Let the judge tell us why Britain should not fulfill the promises that it made. Why Britain will fulfill the promises it made to China or to Japan, but will refuse to do it because we're Africans. And the other thing that is there is the whole world is watching as well. This is not a matter of we declaring that we have self-determination, like, we've done a referendum, we want self-determination.
Oh, okay, at time, we have passed the time. I said 1 minute. We have spent 3 minutes. So let's give people opportunity. I appreciate your contribution, and then we are going to, I know we are going to come across this thought, but before I call Otumba, I'm going to call
what's going on? Why is
you are breaking up, Olotu?
Oh, so it's not my
was one of the here.
Irú device tán lò ní ìyẹn ni problem.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, we can hear you now. Yes.
Irú device tán lò ní.
Malete Ìbàdàn náà ti rà.
No,
British ni o.
British. Proper Java.
One is Gatling gun.
Gatling gun ni mo ń lò ni mo fi ń broadcast. Okay, Babo Yefule, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Eshe, my own response is going to be very short. Moma piggyback lórí nǹkan tí what Professor Adeboye initially said, that ọ̀nà kan ò wọjà, we just have to try as many ways as we possibly can to get what we actually deserve, which is our rights. You see, the colonialists have frequently done things where they think we may not be quite as bright as they are. But unfortunately for them, it's more like the emperor with the naked emperor who has no clothes on. We have individuals among us who can outthink them, There's nothing they can do which we cannot do, and some of our people can do them even better than them. You see, and what these treaties they signed, they initially appear to respect African sovereignty. In other words, establish mutual relationship. But gradually, their interpretation of the treaty terms will more often than not favor them in their own interpretation, of course. And B is just like he who takes a hoe to roko. So hopefully we will get to a point where we also will stop them, grab the hoe from them, and say, no, you are on Rosoduare, Rossi mutual place where it can benefit both of us. We're hopefully we're beginning to do that, and we are going to continuously be able to do that. And the outright violation of the treaties, when it becomes inconvenient to them, that's what they do. And more often than not, one fair trial, or they may want to use military force like they used to use in the past, but that's too obvious these days. So we only low anything. In fact, France is finding it very difficult to invade Burkina Faso. If you want, they will run there overnight to go take this golden boy of ours who is performing miracles. So we have to take that into consideration. These people have not always been forthright with us. They treat themselves like little children, and we just gradually will need to reverse this process. That's all I need to say. But in the meantime, let everybody do their thing. Let the Yoruba Party in the UK do its thing. God bless them. Let the people looking for Odua Nation do their thing. Gradually, you going to confuse Yoruba Nation, Odua Nation, pẹ̀lú political activity of the UK. Then both of them are mutually beneficial to the Yoruba race. That's what I want to say. Back to you.
Britiko Jaguda.
That's who they are.
So thank you.
By next week, I'll change it. Okay. Thank you.
Otumba.
Whatever. I'll change the device by next week. Our meeting in Awori land. So now.
So am I láti 2 weeks ago.
Ọjọ́ láti lọ rà because olú ìlú nìyẹn.
Tìjẹ̀bú Jẹ̀ṣà ni ẹ rà, ìyẹn máa ń pariwo dáadáa.
Exactly.
Ìjẹ̀ṣà tí ń bẹ níjẹ̀bú. Okay, Otumba.
Yeah, before I add my voice to the presentation of the Titanic or who is who and be, I want to. I have
of wisdom.
Yeah. Yes, I received 2 or 3 times people say Yoruba Gbode. What are the argument for going away from what we are known for, like speaking Yoruba? And I try to say to them, oh yes, we do sometimes have presentations that are predominantly has to be done in English and so on. But the argument is people are saying we should do more Yoruba than English. But I also said the last 2 or 3 time is when we probably insisted in Yoruba. But I want to appeal. That hopefully they will agree with us. In Latin culture, the Cabaresi insist we want to do more Yoruba than English. It's a suggestion. I cannot take a decision for everybody. But let me quickly add my voice to the presentations.
Can I quickly chip in and answer you, sir?
Yes, to response to It's not, I mean, as far as I'm
Okay.
concerned, I'm
Yeah,
inside.
yeah, it makes sense. What you said is makes sense. But what we are trying is because of this topic, which is generally about Nigeria. And we know that we have the Igbos, we have the Igbos, we have the Hausas.
The Jamaicans and other people who wants to know. Yeah, okay.
Yes. So, but if the push come to the shove, we will do is voice populate.
Okay.
So whatever people want.
Well, for me, on this particular issue of the 1888 treaty, I want to appreciate everybody, and also in particular the convener. He's put so much into it, and also the deep and deeper look into the whole issue. I mean, matter of this is possibility. I also want to thank all our elders here that they've done very well. They have not done what other people are trying to do, which is my main topic of wanting to throw the issue just like that. Wave it off. No. Even though it's sad that àyòmọye àwọn kan tí wọ́n lè kọ tí wọ́n lè kàyìn lọ́gangan, they have chosen not to get involved, and that is where I want to appreciate Bashegun more. That the worst crime anybody can do is to have a thing and not to do anything. I think that would be the biggest crime, and we don't want to be part of it. And for me, all the contributors so far have said it. Onokon Woja. And this is where I have said many times. Unfortunately, gbogbo àwọn tán wà ní the other camp, tán fẹ́ rí èmi, in particular, they cannot win because mi ní bá wọn jà. Òfìfo náà kàn fẹ́ bá jà because I'm not into that kind of thing. As far as they are concerned, they see this approach as divisive. They see this approach as something. And I can only conclude, and I'm sorry, I just take it pé wọn ò ní nǹkan tán pè ní bí ọpọlọ of how to analyze, how to look at things in it. Tí ó bá jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀, I don't know why anybody or some people will be going behind this approach to be calling us names. I've had case to talk to people, don't even try with me. Èmi ò ṣe bàbá Ṣègùn, tẹ́ bá send rubbish sí, màá send ẹ̀ padà sí in the way tẹ́ni like.
That's right.
So, and I told them that here we have ẹ̀yin àgbààgbà tẹ́ jókòó bí tẹ́ take time to analyze, to go through these things. And in conclusion, ni pé ọ̀nà kan wọjà obìnrin rí ọkùnrin rédíò, and I keep saying to everybody I know, ọkùnrin rédíò obìnrin pa. Ṣé tí bá Ṣègùn bá gba Yorùbá nation lọ́la, ṣé òun àtìyàwó àtàwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ náà fẹ́ gbé bẹ̀ ni? Why are we always like this? And that brought me to this quick one. And I'm sorry, Baba, ẹ̀yin àgbàtà àǹbí, mi ìmọ̀ tó ń ṣe wá. This might not even necessarily need to do pẹ̀lú àwọn colonizers wa. Nǹkan kan ṣì ń ṣe wá inner leash ní German ń pè láàrin àti ò tí ì yé wa. Wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ campaign of calumny, campaign of wípé àwọn ò ní gbà, ẹnìkan fẹ́ ṣe kinní kan, ẹnìkan fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan kan. Why do we do that?
Brain dead.
Èmi ò rò pé yẹn ní nǹkan kan ṣe àwọn wáwá kan táwọn mi ò rò pé ní nǹkan kan ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn colonizers wa. Yes, wọ́n ti yí wa lórí, wọ́n ti bastardize wa, wọ́n ti dà á lórí rú. So I just want to appeal to everybody here tí mo mọ̀ pé most of our meetings wa, àwọn kan dẹ̀ ń gbọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sowọ́ papọ̀ kájọ join ní ibi tí ẹnìkálukú bá fẹ́ support àgẹ́jà support ara wa. Yorùbá ní a lè ní kíní yẹn ó lè ṣe kó má ṣe, ó lè lọ bá kan. But as it is, the argument on the table ní pé, and he said this particular treaty, one out of these 3,000 treaties, let me exaggerate. This particular one, we want to confirm from the court. And the court will have to tell the whole world, they want to tell us, treaty yóò exist àbí kò exist. So we have not gone, Bashir, I don't know whether he's going to tell us update, whether he has filed it or not, but that any which way, this thing is going to court. And gbogbo nǹkan tó lè ń ṣe ní civilized country, developed country, more of legal ni. more legal
Correct.
than anybody fẹ́ máa sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ ṣe governor general of America ẹ rí i pé gbogbo ibi tó ti ń gbé runway as executive kinní kan gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ń ṣalẹ́pa because it's
Dictator.
not legal. Yeah, because most of him don't try láti ṣe it is not legal. So I want to appreciate everybody, sirs, Atima. Let's join hands together to pursue this into a logical conclusion. Ẹ ṣé, mo dúpẹ́.
So ẹ ṣeun we have right now it's 4:55. I'm very grateful for everybody that has said one thing or the other on this. Yes.
Bankole ló ń pè ẹjọ́ ṣé mo lè ní 1 minute torí mo ń drive ní ẹjọ́ just 1 minute.
Mo fún yín ní mẹ́ta nítorí pé ó jẹ́ yín.
Ẹ ṣeun. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody that has spoken. Bashegun, I really applaud your stance, and I hope you can continue in the fight from your own sector, because when you fight a war, there's not just one sector. When you talk of war, you talk of battles. There are battles in this front, battle in that front. Look at the American situation when Martin Luther King was fighting. I mean, but for the other people like Malcolm X and other civil rights fighters, nobody would have taken him seriously. Nobody would have. The whites here in America took Martin Luther seriously because they knew that what they had in Malcolm X was worse than what they had in Martin Luther King. So, I mean, if anybody has the strength, if anybody has the vigor to pursue this, and I would say, yeah, go ahead and do it in whatever way. Like Baba said on Akon Waja, let's create more fronts, and the more fronts we have, the more these people we are fighting will know that yes, people are really serious about it. That's my take, Olotu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ọ̀túnbọ̀ Yefule, ẹ̀yin ló kàn.
Yes, thank you, ẹ ṣé. Ó dàbẹ̀ ń pé Olóòtú ti network ẹ̀ ò
Thank you
ṣiṣẹ́.
very
Ní
much.
láti jẹ́ ní ló ti
You see
Jẹ̀bú yẹn mọ́ from
the
next week.
Dr.
Product Jẹ̀bú ò tà from
Hear
next week.
me.
Our British record.
Hello.
Can you
Okay,
hear
Otumba.
me?
Yeah.
Well, we can hear you, but we can't see you. Now we can see
now
you.
I'm at Gbọ̀ngán, mo ti kúrò ní Àwórì, so that's why you can hear me.
Ọwọ́ mi wà lókè o.
That's what you get. Otumba, yeah, I saw you, sir. Otumba, that's what you get. Yeah, because you said you're going to change my device and you have not changed it. And you left him change it.
Next week, ṣé ẹ rí pé ó máa wà gẹ́gẹ́ nílò ti Jẹ̀bú.
Okay, ṣé ti get address to tell me the new device. So, before I'm going to call Dr. Oyefule, and we can spend some more minutes after 5 o'clock. Now, what I want to say is we have this problem on Yoruba self-determination because of what Yoruba people will say, àìtọ̀wọ́rìn ejò tí ṣekú pa wọ́n. Have you ever seen snakes like 4 or 5 walking together? No.
No.
If you see them walking together, like even 3 ejos, everybody will run. But they walk singly. Yoruba will say, àìtọ̀wọ́rìn ejò ní ṣekú pa wọ́n, tí ọká bá ṣíwájú, tí èrè bá tẹ̀lé. Nini is the most beautiful ejò. Bó ṣe lẹ́wà tó náà bá tẹ̀lé wọn, kò sẹ́ni tó lè lẹ́bọ láyà kọlu èṣù ọ̀dàrà. Baba Oyefule, you are on, sir.
Ẹ ṣé o, thank you very much. Nǹkan tí mò ń gbọ́ nípa láti ọ̀dọ̀ Bashegun, and which was also seconded by Otumba in a way, ni pé that being a type of battle, antagonism against nǹkan tí Bashegun and co are doing in England. I think those who do that are very wrong. ọ̀nàkùn wọjà gbogbo wa kọ́ la máa wà on the same camp but the only camp tá a gbọ́dọ̀ wà ni pé progress of Yoruba land. So bye Ṣẹ́gun, I congratulate you on what you're doing and I wish you I wish us the best.
Thank you.
We will forge forward and we will continue to do what we need to do to liberate our land. Olóòtú, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So what is important is we are learning every day. So, and I want to suggest that we do a complete program. We invite other people and talk about this treaty.
That'll be fine.
We should talk about this treaty. We should analyze it. Even Taba, if we can bring Oyibo here, Odale Kogbale, and other people, what do people understand by this treaty? We should work on it as soon as we finish this program on Nigeria. It's going to be the last thing that we are going to talk about to round up what we are talking about Nigeria, the way it started. That is the topic. So I'm very grateful to Bachegun for bringing it, and it has, engineer all of us to start thinking about exactly what is the meaning of the treaty. What is the purpose of the treaty? What is the purpose of the signature? Baba Adeboye, I recognize you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I want to remind us that for almost 2,000 years, any number of organizations, of Jewish organizations existed all over the planet, different in emphasis from one another, but unified on the need to find a home for Jews. When I came to Baltimore in 1969, in Baltimore City alone, Jewish organizations may have numbered about 5 that I knew of. They weren't fighting each other, but they weren't meeting together except on very, very cogent matters. They approached Jews' liberation from different angles. But one thing that was common is that they wanted Jews to have a home. If you look at Theodor Herzl, he started that before the end of the 19th century. Many Jewish organizations all over Europe opposed him. Some supported him. Within the next 50 years, what was thought to be impossible actually happened. But it was not without the collaboration of very many organizations that were approaching the issue from different vantage points. No, Yoruba are intelligent. For one thing, I don't know what people aren't. We have suffered. But the most important thing is that our culture has been taken away from 500 years of slavery and 200 years of colonialism and several years since of neocolonialism. We have learned to look at our problems from different vantage points. I talk to Nigerians every day in Nigeria. Some of my best friends. Many of them champion what we are doing at Yoruba Gbode. Some of them think that it is a waste of time. Some of them think that what we are looking for is impossible. They wish it were. So it is almost foolish to expect all of us at the beginning of our battle to all be saying the same thing, doing the same thing, doing the same thing. No. That's not the way it works, because we have evolved differently in different places with different exposures, different experiences. and we are going to have to unravel. And so that's why I go whenever I'm invited and I can make it to conferences like this, platforms like this. There's another Jesha who runs one. Ogedengbe. I've been to his setup at least twice. I've been to others. I didn't say, and it isn't true, that ọ̀nà tí Yoruba Gbode ń gbé gbà nìkan náà ló tọ̀nà. No. Eventually, maybe, just like the Jewish organizations found themselves pulling forces together by 1948 to get the state of Israel, no matter what their differences were before that, they unified. Let's do that. Let's aim at that. Because if there's an only way, that is the way. Collaboration between people who started at different vantage points and eventually reached a position where they can collaborate and change the program with methodologies that were evolved differentially but harmonized at the end. That's the way to think. So,
thank you, Baba.
Foríjì mi o, mo gbọ́dọ̀ jáde níbi lọ sí ibìkan tí mo ti commit.
Not another Amala.
Do you have Amala? If so, I'll be there in England.
Bàbá ò fàmàlà ṣeré o.
Ìyẹn làwọn jẹ, well, láfún.
Ìyẹn tí mo jẹ tó tẹ́ mi lọ́rùn dáadáa. Adó Èkìtì mo ti jẹ ní Palace Ọba.
Wow.
Well, the next time you are in the UK, I will show you how we shall do our pounded yam here.
Ọ̀kẹ́ Ìjẹ̀ṣà bíi túùkú wọ̀lú igba wọn bí erin jáko. Oríkì lára oríkì Ìjẹ̀ṣà tó wù mí nù. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wọn yìí mọ̀ pé kì í ṣe èébú. Ọ̀kẹ́ Ìjẹ̀ṣà, kí ni ọ̀kẹ́? Ní èdè Yorùbá, kí ni ọ̀kẹ́?
Àpò.
It's a bag.
No, it's a figure.
Okay. It's 20.
5,000.
Ọ̀kẹ́ kan. Àpò sí ló jẹ́ kí wọ́n máa pè lọ́kẹ́.
Torí pé tí wọ́n bá kó 5,000 yẹn tán bá dà sínú ọ̀kẹ́, ìgbà yẹn ni ọ̀kẹ́ á tó dúró, ìgbà yẹn ni àpò yẹn á tó dúró.
Okay.
Wọ́n ní bíi túùkú wọ̀lú igba wọn bí erin jáko nítorí pé ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ tí wọ́n fi máa ń bára wọn ṣe ni wọ́n fi ń kì wọ́n. Bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn bí erin bá jáko a mọ̀ pé agbára ni. So mo dúpẹ́ a sì ní bí ìṣẹ́jú bíi mélòó kan. Ohun tí bàbá tí èmi rò pé ẹ lè dúró di aago 5:30, ṣùgbọ́n tó bá jẹ́ pé ẹ ti fẹ́ máa lọ àgbàlagbò ó kù 5:08 la ṣì wà.
Okay, màá dúró di 5:15 torí ìyá ẹ̀ ti rẹ́dì.
Okay, ẹ ṣeun. Ṣé ẹ rí kókó nǹkan the most important thing to me about this thing that we're talking about Nigeria and everything is what instrument can we use in the creation of Nigeria that will benefit us to get to where we are going? What happened during that time that we can use to benefit us to get to where we are going? So if anybody wants to enlighten us on that, we have about 10-15 minutes to do that.
Well, yeah, I'm coming. Just give me a minute. Where is Baba Aliu?
Oh, Baba Aliu was supposed to be here today, but he's not here today.
That's right.
Okay.
So next week we will see Baba Aliu, and then maybe whatever Baba Aliu is bringing, we wrap it up with the treaty. If we can get other people that will talk, that can talk about treaty, from outside this forum. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Go on.
Okay, so I'm looking for enlightenment on. We have known about the treaty, but what other instrument, what other tools, what other Gatling gun can we use to draw us to where we're going? If we don't have it today, we should get it ready for next week when we.
The problem, for example, if a conference of Oba, Yoruba Oba, for example, were to decide that yes, they wanted an emancipated Yoruba land, I'm actually not sure that there's any means by which Nigeria can prevent it. But the difficulty is that you are not going to get the Obas to do it. This is where our problem lies, is that although we have leaders, in inverted commas, we have political leaders, we have traditional leaders, and we have elite like us. The problem that we Yoruba have is that we have no leaders. And that is the saddest part of it. So that it's not possible to do what has been suggested, that we come together and say this is the where we're going. We may be going from different directions, but that's where we're going. The difficulty is that we really do not have leadership to do it. And that's a very difficult problem. It's a very, very difficult problem.
Okay, that could tell you if you can. Check when they respond.
Benny Baba.
Yeah, we don't have that. Let a group or a collection of groups decide how we can get it. We used to have it. In physics, we say that the path of light rays is reversible. How do we reverse it? It's not a small job. And we should not give up. Let some people find out what we can do to get authority back or self-confidence back to our natural rulers. And let us find out what the economic damage is doing to make only dealers out of our alleged leaders. We have to work hard at it. That's the kind of thing that I hope Yoruba Gbode is about.
Thank you, Baba. Oh, Baba, please let me. Going back to the Yoruba Gbode that we did before, and I stumbled on one of them that I really like, and that was when Aláàfin Ọba Adéyẹmí Lámídì Adéyẹmí the third came on Yoruba Gbode. There was a question by one of our professors on the problem that we have that is like a stumbling block on our effort to get to Yoruba nation. And Kábíyèsí Adéyẹmí, may his soul rest in peace, mentioned that some of the problem that we have is on our kings, our Obas, they are not united. Number two, politics is dividing them. Money is dividing them, and so many things. But let me, as young as I am, I might be the youngest here. But let me tell you something. This is not the first time that we have problem with the Yoruba kings. Sheba woni won ta wa soko ẹrú. Who did? Abi? Ashẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wa ń pòwe Asani Sukuta. It's been there, but we have to find a way to move past it. Abomiri.
Olotu.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Europe. Okay. And look at the areas that used to be called the Balkans. The same kind of problem that we say we have in Yoruba land, they've had it in Europe for centuries. If you go to a place that used to be called Yugoslavia, it's partitioned to a number of countries.
Six republics.
Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, all of those places had their kings and obas and what have you, who divided up the interests of the people. Somehow, somewhere, that is still going on. It's within my lifetime and yours that Bosnia-Herzegovina has come out of Yugoslavia. Albania has entered Bosnia and is now majority group in there. It's within my lifetime that Palestine has become a major area for Jews living since 1948, Arabs suffering, whatever it is you want to call it. You go to Kashmir and you see that Kashmir is partitioned between India and Pakistan and so on and so forth. This kind of thing are going on everywhere. Yet, in so many places, they're able to harmonize, group together, and recover. That's what we want to do. Let's not lose hope. Let's not get discouraged. When anybody come back, on a cola.
Benny.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me just ask a question. How did it come about 1930 or 1933 that the Oba seemed to have come together to form a conference of Oba? And at that time, they used to have their meeting in which they then invited the governor to tell the governor what it is they wanted. Although what they wanted wasn't much. They wanted education and things like that. How did that come about? Somebody must have organized it.
Let's see what was going on at that time. Was it 1922 or thereabouts that Macaulay founded a movement, a political party?
That's right.
Macaulay, the grandson of Ajayi Crowther.
That's right, about Macaulay.
Yes, but you remember that Macaulay did not wait for the British to approve whatever he was doing. In fact, they put him in jail a couple of times for daring to ask for something. Now, the Obas, whatever Macaulay was advising them was important to them because they felt threatened at that time by the emerging domination of their land by foreign powers. Remember that Macaulay also escorted the Oluwa of Lagos to the Privy Council to argue his case. We were
to London. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All of those, our so-called leadership at that time had not yet become a dealership. Well, now it's become a dealership. We must
change name and position.
We must find a way to reverse it. Ọgbọ́n ó gbà. Agbágbára náà o. But ọgbọ́n ṣe pàtàkì ńbẹ̀.
Ẹ ṣeun. Like I always say, ṣígídì tí ó lọ sọ fún Ọlọ́run ọba pé aláàárẹ̀ ò wá mọ́, epo orí rẹ̀ yóò rìn, and that is what is happening. I want to thank everybody for coming on this show today. We are going to continue on Nigeria next week. Let me tell you that Yoruba Gbode, as usual, we are having Yoruba class. We are having Yoruba class 10 hours per week. During that time, people will be able to speak and use common conversation if they go through the whole month and it's chicken change. What is more important, as we are sending the flyer out, some people are, calling. For example, I got a call from Odidere Ayeko Uto, who was a teacher for donkey years. Tubosun Oladapo chief. He said he wanted to volunteer to teach in this class, to be part of it. So please send your children, send your grandchildren. Like I always say, if the children don't learn and the grandchildren learn, then the children will have to pay their children to teach them Yoruba. And nínú ńlá ase nínú lasa oko emo ni emo lo is the same thing. Next week we are going to meet by the grace of God. I thank you, everybody. Please promote Yoruba Gbode, announce Yoruba Gbode, share our flyers. Orí méjì ó sàn ju orí kan lọ, pàápàá tó bá jórí ẹja, ìgbà tá a bá fi jẹ tán á ti yó. Kò jẹ́ bó ṣe jẹ́, kò jẹ́ bó ṣe lóhùn ó jẹ́. We are going to meet next week. I'm very grateful to everybody. Ẹni tó fúnni lówó kò fẹ́ kébi ó pa ni, ẹni tó fúnni nímọ̀ kò fẹ́ kí á rìn lókun àìnímọ̀. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yèyé mi o, torí pé ẹni tó fúnni lọ́mọ àwọn ni wọn ò jẹ́ ká jàjẹrun bí iṣu. Yèyé mi Egbinọlá Adékúnbí àtúnwá ìlú tó kọ́ mi láṣà mo dèrè àṣà. Ìrè ní mògùn ará àlágbẹ̀dẹ ọmọ awórin tún rírọ. Ibikíbi tó o bá wà.
Ilẹ̀ rẹ o.
Ó di kọ̀ bí èbó fẹnu ọkọ̀ sọlẹ̀. Ó di ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ ọbẹ̀lẹ́mi ò bá gbà. Please, when you get your flyer, share it.
Olóòtú ẹ send flyer àsùnmí mọ́ o.
Alàgbà Akíbóyè.
Ẹ send flyer àsùnmí mọ́.
Ẹ má bínú, màá make sure pé àní miss yín ní next one. Thank you, sir. Ta ni èmi náà tẹ́ ń sọ yẹn?
Ọmọọba Adéwálé.
JP, bàbá mi Kẹ́mi Ọláògùn, àní miss yín, ikú gbàgbé yín, àrùn gbàgbé yín, gbogbo nǹkan dáadáa tó fún atánú àtẹgbà yóò mọ gbégbé wò yín, àtowó àtọmọ, àtòhun gbogbo tó dáa yóò mọ yalékè sí gbogbo wa. Ẹ̀mí nígbàgbé yín Ọlọ́run nígbàgbé.
Olóòtú mo sọ fún yín pé kẹ́ send telephone number bàbá Gbọ̀ngàn sí mi. Mo fẹ́ bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ personally.
Ẹ dákun mo gbàgbé ni. Ẹ dákun, ìgbàgbé ló ṣe láti ò léwé lórí, ẹ dákun, ìgbàgbé ló ṣe kàn tó fi wẹ̀wù ẹ̀jẹ̀, mi ò ní gbàgbé, Ọlọ́run ní gbàgbé yín. Màá fi ránṣẹ́. Ẹ ṣé àdúpẹ́. Ire o. Ire gbẹ̀mẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni ẹ bá fẹsẹ̀ wálẹ̀, ire ló ń wá. Ó dìgbà kan náà.
Bye bye.
Bá ṣe bí ìdílé báre o.
Ó dàárọ̀ o yèyé.
Ó dàárọ̀ o. Babaláwo rí. Ẹ jẹ́ a jọ pàdé ní Puerto Rico lọ́sẹ̀ tí ń bọ̀. Ire o.
Wọ́n bọ̀ abẹ́.
Pàdé ní Dominican Republic.
Ẹ̀yin tí ó bá yá Ọ̀túnbọ̀ Yéfúlẹ̀ kò ní dúró ngángan. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń support
lọ sí Dominican Republic.
Dr. Ṣiyẹmí mo kí yín o. All right o. Can you nice weekend o.
Ẹ káàsán ó yá. The other time tẹ́ gbóhùn mi iṣẹ́ mọ̀, mo rò pé wọ́n ṣì ń gbààwẹ̀ ni pé wọ́n change number.
Èmi gangan gbàwé yẹn, èmi gangan right. Èmi gangan ṣe àwẹ̀ yẹn gbà. Èmi ìgbà tán ti gba 30 yẹn mo ti gba 42, èmi ò mọ̀. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ get in touch pẹ̀lú mi, ẹ ní nọ́mbà mi lọ́wọ́ sà.
Mo ní nọ́mbà yẹn o.
Okay. Kíláàsì máa ṣe.
Yeah. But àwọn yèyé wọ́n ní nọ́mbà mi lọ́wọ́ náà.
Okay, má gbà lọ wọn.
Yeah, wọ́n ní nọ́mbà. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ máa ní ìdá àwọn èèyàn tó máa jẹ torí màálù ni mo fẹ́ pa ní ọdún léyà yìí o.
Oh, okay.
màálù ni mo fẹ́ pa ọ̀ torí mọ̀kóró máa pọ̀.
Ọdún léyà, ọdún ìmàle nìyẹn.
Màálù ni mo fẹ́ pa, màálù ni mo fẹ́ pa. Torí rí pé àwọn ẹran kéékèèké yẹn ò káwọn guest ni kò káwọn.
Yeah, African to go ni. Wọ́n máa di lọ́lẹ̀. So nǹkan tí ò ṣe lè ká wọn nìyẹn. No more Chinese. Okay, no more Chinese.
Bye bye.
Okay. Take care.
Bye, sir.